Thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm glad everyone came. And I think we have a very interesting show today. Thank you. Once again, my name is Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment. We're a full-service surveillance and security equipment company with lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products, 24/7, 365, tech sales, and customer support. Getting right into this particular session, what we're talking about today has everything to do with your relationship with your financial advisor or your financial planner, okay? A lot of times we have a very trusting relationship, be it with someone who manages our stocks and bonds and investment accounts, retirement accounts, etc., etc. And we trust those people to handle our critical information, our data, and we want it backed up, we want it secured, we want to make sure that nobody's getting access to it who's not supposed to get access to it. But we typically take all that for granted, okay? And anyway, for instance, while 8 in 10 advisors say that security is a high priority, only 44% say they fully understand the issues and risks, according to a new report from the Financial Planning Association's FPA Research and Practice Institute. And only 29% say they're fully prepared to manage and mitigate cybersecurity risks. So that's what we're talking about today, the fact that there's not much very convincing, reassuring information coming out of the Financial Planning Association Institute or industry telling us that they understand cybersecurity risks and that they're doing as much as possible to mitigate the same risks. Okay? For instance, they did a poll and 1,015 financial advisors nationwide in July were polled, and see these are the same people that are saying that they're really not very much prepared. Okay, they see the regulators turning up the heat. They see the focus on the industry, said Brian Bass, managing director of risk oversight for TD Ameritrade Institutional, which sponsored the survey, by the way. So there were a bunch of breaches, okay? 657 breaches overall, and 28.6 million records this year were stolen and compromised, okay? According to this is according to the Identity Theft Resource Center, okay? There was a broad category of financial institutions involved, including banks and credit card issuers, which accounted for 21 of those breaches, or would amount to 5,262 records. Okay. So in the aggregate, it could be a lot worse, but we don't want to minimize the idea that we need to talk to our financial advisors and planners and find out what they're doing. Some of the questions that you may want to ask your financial advisor or planner or brokerage account, etc., people, the managers, ask them, okay, how do you protect my data? Most security questions are going to be out of the familiarity zones for the typical consumer, okay? But you got to feel comfortable asking these questions, you guys. And this is what you're looking for, okay? It's not a particular kind of technology, but an answer that tells you the advisor has thought about security, that there are protocols, protections in place. Your advisor should be able to tell you something more specific than that the firm has a security team or that they take data protection seriously. We want to go beyond the rhetoric, and we want to get to some very specifics, hopefully. Also, you can, this is another question, where will my data be stored, and who will have access to my data? Okay, the more places your information is stored and the more people who have access to it, the more potential points of attack an attacker has, says Hitesh Sheth, President and Chief Executive of security software provider Veteran Networks. Encrypted databases don't mean much if the advisor takes work home on an unencrypted thumb drive or an assistant in the office falls for a phishing email, okay? So keep in mind that the threat may be physical rather than digital, if the advisor prints copies of your documents or takes paper notes during your meetings and phone calls, he said. Ask about the security for those papers that are stored, too. Another question, what happens to my data after our relationship ends? It's a good idea to know what will happen after you're no longer a client, said Kurt Romer, Chief Security Strategist at software company Citrix. The firm should have copies for safely disposing of former clients' data and a succession plan if the advisor retires and switches firms or dies. Another question, have you ever been the target of a cyber attack? Again, ask them, have you ever been the target of a cyber attack? Some people learn from these mistakes, others don't. Most fall into the latter category, said Ryan O'Leary, Vice President of White Hat Security's Threat Research Center. Consider it a red flag if a prospective advisor has been hacked, he said. Ask what policies and procedures have changed as a result of that incident. Another question, how will you help me in the event of a breach? You want to know that there are policies in place to notify you quickly that there has been a breach and what information has been compromised, said Patterson. The firm should also have a cyber and privacy liability insurance policy to cover any losses. And things that you can do, you guys, what you can do. Don't overshare. Depending upon why you hired an advisor, creating a financial plan versus managing your portfolio, sharing information like your Social Security number or account numbers may not be necessary. If you're sending account statements or tax returns, black out such personal information, said Matt Rogers, head of product for E8, as in Edward number 8 Security, a cybersecurity analytics firm. Don't be afraid to question the need for such data. Ask, why do you need this? What are you going to use it for? He said. Nor should you share your own login information for financial accounts, even if the advisor needs access, said O'Leary. Brokerages allow you to fill out paperwork granting an advisor access and specifying actions he or she can take on your behalf. Another concern, you guys, secure data transmissions. As much as possible, as much as can be kept off email, the better, said Patterson. Each party's email could be the target of an attack, multiplying the risk of sensitive personal information falling into the wrong hands, he said. Use a secure file transfer service, or if the firm has one, a secure client access portal. Okay, and another concern: recognize phishing attempts. After a breach, attackers may pose as your financial institution or advisor, sending emails designed to trick you into revealing more information. Don't click on any links in emails urging you to log in, change your password, sign up for credit monitoring services, or take some other action, said Romer. Instead, use channels of communication, letting you know to be correct. Okay, again, instead, use channels of communication you know to be correct. Calling the office directly, for example, or typing your financial institution's web address directly into a new browser window. And you can set up communications protocols. Agree up front with your advisor on how you'll handle any important communication or account instructions, said Rogers. He and his advisor, for example, have agreed that his advisor will email asking Rogers to call the office. That kind of setup prevents an attacker with access to either party's email from gaining access to more financial information or cash. Having email passwords cracked is a fairly common issue for all of us, he said. We don't want to put our financial lives in jeopardy because we didn't make some common sense upfront decisions. Okay, so there you have it, you guys. Again, make sure that your relationship with your financial advisor, the people who manage your stock accounts, retirement accounts, etc., make sure you understand what type of relationship you have, how your data is being stored, who has access to the data, how's paperwork being handled, what's going to happen if the firm dissolves or gets sold or closes down. What type of policy do they have in place that's going to cause your account to be transferred to another company, destroyed, given back to you? What's going to happen? These are some critical questions. So this is the subject of this particular session, and we'll put a link to my article that goes into more detail. But this is a cybersecurity tip number 4 for today. Is your financial advisor firm hacker resistant? Okay, so we appreciate it when you guys join us in these particular sessions. And as we say, bring a friend, enemy, relative, associated. Share this with all of the above, and we welcome you back to the next one. And you guys have a great day. And again, if you have any need for bug detectors, GPS trackers, listening devices, anti-terrorist products, nanny cameras, etc., don't hesitate to give me a call. 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742. Okay, you guys have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.